Okay, it feels like I gotta keep making this video like every 6 months, but the situation out in Golden State continues to get worse as they keep wasting away the last great years of Stephen Curry. Now, I'm pretty sure that you're aware the topic that has been dominating the NBA world over the past couple of weeks is LeBron and his decision. Now, he came to this conclusion a couple of days ago, and we talked about it in my last video when he decided to go to the Philadelphia 76ers, so make sure you go check it out. However, the consequences of said decision have rippled out to the rest of the NBA landscape, and the team that got hit the hardest were the Golden State Warriors, as Golden State was on LeBron's radar since the beginning of the offseason when he decided to part ways from the Los Angeles Lakers, and the opportunity for LeBron to go out to the Bay to play with Steph and Dre seemed very realistic, and it only came with one contingency, and that was the front office out in Golden State finding a way to add Anthony Davis on their roster. Now, from the rumors, it seems as if and some are conflicting, but it does seem like there is some consistent belief that the Warriors were okay originally with this idea, that if they had to go get AD from Washington, especially because there is a belief that the Washington Wizards are unwilling to give him the contract that he desires, and also AD may not want to play with Washington as well, that this was going to be a fairly seamless addition to their team. However, bro, the Wizards, they ain't playing fair. In many reports, it was claims that the Wizards were looking for a lot of draft capital, way more than really any team would have given up to acquire Anthony Davis, regardless of the circumstances. And the reason why Washington was asking for so much because they knew any conversations that entailed Anthony Davis going to Golden State, they had all the leverage in the world, right? If Golden State really wanted AD, that also meant that they were going to get LeBron. And so you're going to have to give us draft capital for not only AD, but basically AD and Bron. Now, obviously, the Warriors were unwilling to make this transaction, which then later led LeBron down different paths, so much so that it has now been reported that LeBron just wasn't interested. He didn't believe the idea of going to Golden State was going to be realistic due to their inability of adding Anthony Davis if they were unwilling to trade the draft capital. And so that's how we kind of get to where we are right now, where LeBron is now in Philadelphia instead of out in the Bay with AD. And that really would have been special because not only would they have added AD and LeBron alongside Steph Curry and Draymond, but now the reports are claiming that KCP, he's going to be bought out of his contract, and he is also following LeBron. So there is a world where the Golden State Warriors could have had a starting five that would have featured Steph Curry, KCP, LeBron, AD, and Draymond. And that easily would have not only been one of the better stories in NBA history, must-see TV, but more importantly, one of the better rosters in the NBA, regardless of age and mileage. I do believe a roster constructed in that fashion easily would have been the best team in the Western Conference, and they would have had a really good likelihood to go on to win a championship. But unfortunately, another opportunity to build a championship caliber roster around Curry continues to escape the hands of the Golden State front office. And man, this has been a reoccurring theme throughout the entire post-KD era out in Golden State. As many of us are aware, over the past 3 to 4 years, the Golden State Warriors have had the opportunity to add players such as Pascal Siakam, Lauri Markkanen, Paul George, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and now you can add both Anthony Davis and LeBron James to that list of names. And as this has occurred, we've never really gotten a true explanation on why exactly Golden State just fails to capture any opportunity to add legitimate talent around Curry. But this time it is different. We actually have a clear definition of what exactly the Warriors are trying to do over the last handful of years of Steph Curry's prime, where he has played at exceptionally high levels for someone at his age. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's bad. Like it's really bad. So bad, you're going to have to sit back and relax. And to my Golden State Warrior fans, I know it's going to be very difficult to unwind. So don't you dare worry. I have the perfect thing for you. And they are this week's sponsors, and they are Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth makes ultra premium bedding, pajamas, and bath essentials that are incredibly soft, breathable, and designed to help you stay comfortable all night long. Now, I'm pretty sure you've already heard about their loungewear, from their robes to their slippers, again, premium quality. But the one thing that you may not be aware of, especially during the summer, is that they actually have beach towels as well. With summer in full effect, their premium beach towels that are soft and plush the moment that you unfold them, while still absorbing water quickly after a day at the pool or a beach, that is a must-have. And my personal favorite has to be the bamboo sheets. Don't know if you're aware of this. I not only live in Atlanta and gets hot and muggy during the nighttime, but I'm on the heftier side, trying to slim down a little bit. Nevertheless, though, big guy and hot summer nights really don't mesh well. Normally, I sweat when I'm sleeping, but as soon as I've been laying down on these sheets, everything has changed. It has been cool, breathable, no matter how hot it is outside. And to help you purchase with even more confidence, Cozy Earth has you covered with a 10-year warranty and a 100-night hassle-free return policy, so you can try it out completely with peace of mind. Made from viscose from bamboo, breathable soft, and built for summer, head to CozyEarth.com and use my code LOW for an exclusive 20% off. That's code LOW, L-O-W, for an exclusive 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, mention that you heard about Cozy Earth right here. So why is it that the Golden State Warriors are not trying to maximize every single last year in the best and most accomplished player in franchise history? Well, it's because they're trying to prepare for life after Steph Curry. There are several credible sources that are close to the organization that truly believes that Joe Lacob, who is the owner of the Golden State Warriors, is not only preparing for life after Steph and wants to build a team and prepare for whenever Steph retires, but also they just flat out do not believe that they're anywhere near close to a title contending team this upcoming season. And this is where I just have to be honest, and we can just keep it 100. This should not surprise anyone whatsoever, because if you've looked at their decisions over the past handful of years, their unwillingness to trade B-Pods, how late they were on moving off of Kuminga, the fact that they didn't trade neither one of the picks that turned out to be Wiseman and Kuminga at the draft, all of these things have culminated into an organization that is clearly under the belief that they are better off preparing for after Curry rather than maximizing the last handful of years. But to be fair, I know a lot of people, they wanted to hear it. They wanted to see more evidence of it. But I'm going to be honest with you, even if you are willing to ignore all of that, you should have heeded Andre Iguodala's words a couple of years ago.
Like, my thing is, they really do be thinking it's them and not us. That's Joe and them too. Mm-hmm. Like, I tell Joe, like, yo, Joe, you do be walking around, fam, like, this is what I did this. And, like, they got this narrative now, you know, we got the championship squad, and then they going to build another one at the same time that's coming right after us. I'm like, man, y'all know how hard it is, man. And do y'all, like, we know,
I've been
we
talking
see
about
it.
that all day today.
Yeah, like,
people that are here, like, how hard it is to win in this league.
It's so hard. We made it look so easy that they think it's like, oh, we about to do it again. I'm like, all right.
Man, looking back at that clip in hindsight is crazy, especially where you see where Golden State is at right now, because not only did Iguodala tell everybody what's exactly going to happen, but you could also start to see that the Golden State Warriors are following the exact same path that we saw from the Chicago Bulls post the Michael Jordan era. Jerry Krause and his ego got in the way and told Phil Jackson that 1998 was going to be the last year that he was going to coach for the Bulls. Jordan then told the organization, if Phil goes, then I go. And then after the 98 season, iconically known as the Last Dance, Phil, Pippen, and Jordan all are moved off of the Chicago Bulls in one offseason. And ever since then, Chicago has never, ever, not only never won a championship, they've never been to the finals. And the only time that they made it to the conference finals was 1 year with Derrick Rose. Ever since then, Chicago has never been the same, further lamenting how difficult it is to truly go on a historic run that we saw out of Chicago as well as with the Golden State Warriors. And one would very easily argue the way in which some of the draft picks have gone for the Warriors over the past 5 to 7 years, that would further be evidence to why you shouldn't just roll the dice on a bunch of young players. Golden State had 2 top draft picks and they swung and missed on both of them, despite the fact that they had various options to acquire much more talented players. Either A, moving up in the draft to go get Anthony Edwards, or B, just trading both of the draft picks to go out there and get some veterans to solidify the talent around Steph Curry. And what has happened ever since then is that the team has not only slowly regressed in terms of young talent on the roster that clearly isn't going to reach any level of stardom that would justify continue going going down this path, but Curry has proven everyone, including the people out in Golden State, completely wrong by still playing at a certain level that makes the decision even more idiotic. The whole belief was that Curry was never going to be able to play at this level this long, and so in the preparation of when Curry eventually breaks down and is forced to retire, I get it, but that's not happening. And so not only did you not have enough belief in Curry, but the belief that you had in yourself has now led you down this path where the team is getting worse. You had opportunities to add talent on the roster and you failed to do so because you're just sitting there holding a bunch of draft capital, and you want to make sure that I want to say either 2028 or 2029 that all the big contracts are finally off the books. Like, you're giving yourself cap flexibility. You're giving yourself a bunch of optionality, as some decision makers now like to call it, in terms of draft capital. That's what you're giving yourself instead of maximizing a player in Stephen Curry, who is still playing at an all-NBA level even at this point in his career. It is quite literally ridiculous. And so here we are now into July, and all of the rest of the news that's being broke for the Warriors is B-Pods now receiving around $23 to $25 million a year. They now have to restructure the Draymond contract that they have to give him, because the reason why he opted out was to give them the chance to sign LeBron to whatever contract. And in a much bigger picture, the Golden State Warriors are the only team in the NBA that did not add anyone to their roster in the offseason. Golden State is about to go into the upcoming year with the exact same team that they did last year, while several other teams in the NBA have gotten significantly better. Be very mindful that Jimmy Butler, he's going to be sidelined for roughly 40 to 50 games this upcoming year as well. So once more, we're about to see a wasted year of Stephen Curry. And it's crazy how often I have to keep making the exact same video just because how often they get opportunities to add legitimate talent to their roster. And for the people out there who want to argue, well, at the end of the day, it's AD. Like, AD giving up that much draft capital for AD and an older LeBron. Like, you could also rationally tell yourself that when Jimmy Butler is healthy and comes back, that the team still is going to be in pretty good standings. A couple of things. Yes, AD has been injury prone and he hasn't been playing and available. But again, Jimmy Butler will be sidelined for like 40 to 50 games. So I don't know what to tell you. Secondly, even though, yes, AD is injury prone and LeBron is older and is going to be a big old unction if they decided to pull off that trade. The reason why we are where we are right now, and the reason why you have to get so much older players around Steph Curry and Draymond, is because of all of the other opportunities that you missed. They had more than enough opportunities to add younger talent, but instead they went down this path that has led them to, again, not adding anyone on their roster for an entire offseason. That is completely unacceptable. But the biggest thing that I really want to address is that people will sit there and claim that me making this statement that the Warriors are wasting away Stephen Curry is a hyperbolic statement. And to those people, there's three things that we have to address. First, the idea that, oh, well, they did it a handful of years ago, so they don't have to do it anymore. Please stop giving credit to this front office and the group of decision makers for something that other people did years ago. Bob Myers was the one who was making the decisions. Right now, it's Mike Dunleavy. They're not the same. So I don't know why people are going to sit here and give Mike Dunleavy the credit for what somebody else did. That makes literally no sense. Secondly, let's actually stop and break down how many years has the Warriors provided a good team around Curry while Curry was also good. So I'm not going to count rookie Curry and sophomore. I think that's not fair. But from 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, that's 6 years where the roster has been really good around Curry while Curry has also been really good as well. But after that, I'm not going to count 2020 because that's unfair. But 21, not a good year. 2022, even though they won a championship that year, I still don't think that roster is adequate to put around Curry. But I'll put it in the middle. But in 2023, 24, 25, and half of 26 when Jimmy was healthy. But the other half, when he's not healthy, it's a no. And now we're about to go into another season where, again, half of it, Jimmy Butler's not going to play. So now we're talking about roughly 5 years of Stephen Curry playing at a certain level where the roster is incompetent around him. They literally were sitting there for like 2 to 3 years just not playing Jonathan Kuminga at all. It is ludicrous. So yes, even though there's a handful of years before where they really maximized Curry to levels in which you you rarely see in the NBA, they've also wasted away just as many. We're getting to the point where it's damn near the same amount of years they're wasting away of Curry as well. But more importantly, and this is the thing that really blows me away, just because you did something at one point of a player's career doesn't mean that you just get the opportunity to just stop building teams, to just stop being a front office, to stop being a general manager. How silly it sounds of people to sit here and to say, well, they've already done it before, so what does it matter? The Spurs didn't do that with Tim Duncan. When Tim Duncan came in the league, they slowly started to keep building. They ran off 3 to 4 championships, and after 2007, they kept retooling, they kept rebuilding, and eventually in 2013 and 2014, towards the tail end of his career, they gave him another championship roster. The Lakers didn't do this with Magic Johnson. He came in the NBA, played with Kareem, Norm Nixon, Jamal Wilkes, and then later on, they added Byron Scott and James Worthy. So they kept adding talent. AC Green, Vlade Divac, all of those players until 1991, the day in which Magic retired, and they still had a quality team around him. Same thing with Larry Bird. Came in the NBA, already had Robert Parrish, a young Kevin McHale, cool. But then later on, still added Bill Walton, Danny Ainge, and Dennis Johnson. Like, you keep adding talent to the roster because your job as a general manager is not done until it's over with the player. So regardless how you cut it or slice it, they are clearly taking Curry for granted. They are not trying to maximize who Curry is. When you go into an offseason and you make 0 moves, there's no excuse for it. There's none. And yes, that does mean that they're wasting years away from Curry. And even Curry is over it. There was a quote on a podcast where it seems as if like Curry, he's like, man, I'm tired of having to go to these stars and ask them the opportunity to come play with us over in Golden State just for the front office to not make the adequate trade to go get said stars. I'm tired of it. So yes, the front office is failing. Curry is tired of trying to persuade players just for the front office not to pull the trigger. And now we're at a point where an all-time great player on a franchise that was literally nothing before Curry came along. You had to go back to the Rick Barry days before you can get back to some relevant years in franchise history. The best player, the most accomplished player in franchise history that has revived the organization to the point where there's now a generation of kids that are familiar with Golden State as a franchise. Instead of you maximizing every single last year, you're now trying to prepare for life after Curry, even though he's the only thing that is giving you life in the first place. But hey, let me know y'all thoughts in the comment section below. Would you have pulled the trigger? What other moves would you have made? Because making none for an entire offseason is crazy. But overall, do you think Curry should start making more demands in that front office or even find himself on another organization? I believe he should. Also, sorry for the voice. It's hoarse. This took me a good second to record, so I apologize for that. And also the background, I am in the middle of moving, so I will see you all when I see you. But until then, peace.